everyone. Welcome to a chilly fall day in a car with no doors. Today we're going to be taking a look at this, my Porsche 924 Turbo. A little departure from the crazy high mileage 996, but a lot of folks were interested in some of the other cars in the fleet, and this one's the most immediate. Let's check it out. All right, so this is my 1980 Porsche 924 Turbo or 931. It's definitely a project car, but it's one that kind of fell into my lap. I had a Turbo before this that had a locked up engine, and at that point, I wasn't set up to do such an involved engine build, so kind of had a little bit of FOMO going on. And this one came up, and to anybody else, this car would have been a complete parts car. I mean, when I got it, it had no interior, one seat. I guess it did have the door panels. So it had the door panels and one seat. And then not these seats either. These seats are a new addition, but came to me with a rhino lined gutted interior, absolutely no parts. It was cheap. The previous owner told me it was locked up, but it's it's come back to life surprisingly well, and I'm very, very impressed by the car. It's very neat too. It's satisfying my FOMO from my other Turbo, but this one is a very funky car. It's an S1 car, so the first series of the 924 Turbo in 1980. So it's got a couple oddities. One being the four lug basket weave wheels versus the five lug the later turbos had. But let's take a closer look. I want to show you guys some things on this. So I think if I had to say one thing about this car that is the hardest to deal with is that my tires are dirty. Just kidding. It's the paint. It's definitely the paint. Paint issues abound on this car, and this kind of shows you this car used to be Minerva blue underneath all of this just awful chalkboard black paint. Just a phenomenal original color from the Porsche palette covered up by black chalkboard. We popped the hood and you can really see where that blue pops, and God, it's just a fantastic original color. So I have plans for that. I am currently in the process of revival of the paint on this car. More on that later. So I lied. This car actually does have one door on it. This door is in much better shape. The door that I have taken off actually has a broken door hinge where it is pulled away from the body. Exterior on this car definitely shows its age. And we've got a couple little issues like little dents here and there, but for the most part, it's a pretty honest little car. It's not hail damaged. The hood is in, I guess, decent shape. I do love the back on this thing. It's just so loud and proud. Turbo. And so here's the reason I actually had the door off. As you can see, the hinge piece has pulled away from the metal. So we're going to figure out how to weld that back on and get the door mounted and aligned properly. But for now, I'm loving it without the door. It's just a blast to drive like this. But let's head inside. So one of my favorite things about S1 924 turbos is we get the green gauges. These are so cool. I love the tachometer. I love the Jimmy Carter speedometer too. National speed limit, 55 miles an hour. So fun on a car like this. Also got green gauges for my oil pressure gauge and my clock. Those are all factory and super cool. Then we also have the dogleg 5-speed manual. So this has the snail shell transmission. In 1981, in the Turbo, they stopped using these and actually switched to the Audi 5-speed. So in the S1, you get the dogleg shift pattern, which is like an early 928 pattern. So it's something I'm definitely familiar with, and it's fun to drive. It's a neat experience having that differing gear layout. Now, it's no secret that this incredibly vivid carpet is special because it came in the 1977 Porsche 924 Martini edition. But this particular carpet kit is a little bit more special to me on a personal level. And I'll tell you a quick story. When I was working in my first job as a parts counter guy, I had a regular who would come in and ended up doing some side work for him. He had an old VW Beetle that I ended up fixing for him and then helped him around in the yard as such. He was an older guy. He had a 924 Martini edition project that he had stashed over in the corner of his yard. And, he let me sit in it. And as a kid, I was really getting exposed to these rare cars that I had no idea really existed. And, exploring the possibilities of a transaxle Porsche instead of a traditional 911. I really ate up that experience. And so years go by and we kind of lost touch. And at my local pull and pay a couple years ago, I found his car. And that was a little bit of a hard realization for me, realizing that that likely meant that he had passed. And, I thought, how could I do the car justice? And I looked at the entire carpet kit, which was great. He always kept it under a cover. So this is not very faded. And I thought, if I left one piece of this behind, even, it's just going to get crushed with the rest of the car. So I took the whole carpet kit. And I actually had the carpet for probably a couple years before I ended up buying this car, and kind of thought, what should I do with it? Should I sell it? I ended up just hanging on to it for a little while, and this car fell into my lap, and it's ruined, terrible, possibly seized engine condition. And I couldn't think of a better home for this carpet kit, because I'm looking at this Minerva blue, I'm looking at this red carpet, I'm thinking I want shiny black seats. I find these incredible sports seats that are period correct. I mean, it's really lining up. The car is turning out in a really fun way, and it's been very fun to be pretty experimental with how I'm looking at these things. But speaking of the Minerva blue, I have a couple clips that I'll throw in here for you guys. I am going to painstakingly hand sand this car down to the Minerva blue underneath the black paint. I actually have this rear window out so you can see where the blue is underneath there, and so I'd love to get back to that. So I've started sanding a little bit, and you can see here, and before you all jump on me about my idea, I know it's never going to look perfect. Starting from zero, remember, starting from zero on this car. And even these blow-through spots have some really cool potential with the blue and white when we look at doing the entire car. So I'm looking to hand sand this entire thing and bring back some of that incredible vibrant blue color. I think it'll be more of like a paint patina. I'm really excited to see how that goes. All right, well, that about covers us for where we are today on the 924 Turbo. Hope you liked something a little bit different than the crazy high mileage 996. Definitely an eclectic and oddball little car. I'm really looking forward to doing more with this. The paint removal down to the blue color is just going to be phenomenal. And I'm thinking I might take a little inspiration from art cars. John Ficarra did a couple art car 928s recently. And there have been incredibly creative and visually appealing art cars that have been made through the years. So, maybe I'll try and lean into that, and we'll see how the paint removal process goes. But I hugely appreciate everyone who has liked, commented, subscribed, just watching the videos. I'm really happy to put this content out for you guys. It makes me really excited to keep going. Huge shout out also to Supercar Blondie for their article on the crazy high mileage 996. That was a fun read, and definitely helps me get the car out there to more people who'd be interested in following its story. So if you guys would like to see even more eclectic car collection, got a few more locked and loaded. Definitely love showing you guys some of the things I found over the years. All right, everyone. Until next time.